There are moments in this life, this business, that aren't just scripted in ink and paper but carved into the very spirit of the squared circle. And what we saw this week, on SmackDown, was one of those moments. A collision not just of talent, not just of personalities, but of purpose, of allegiance, of destiny. Stephanie Vaquer, the Dark Angel, a name that's been echoing louder through the halls of WWE each passing week. A woman who's fought with fire, who's bled passion, and who's danced with shadows. Officially a part of Monday Night Raw, yes, but this week, she walked right through the doors of SmackDown like a storm breaking through calm skies. Why? Not because of contracts, not because of brands, because of what happened to a legend, because of what happened to Nikki Bella. See, just a few days ago, on Raw, the world stopped spinning for a second as the Hall of Famer Nikki Bella returned to that red canvas. Nearly a decade gone. The ring, though, remembered her. The ropes knew her rhythm. The audience felt her fire. She stood across from Chelsea Green, the fierce, unyielding leader of Secret Hervice, and she reminded us all who Nikki Bella really is. She battled, she endured, and she emerged victorious. But the story didn't end with the bell. It ended in chaos. It ended in betrayal. It ended in an ambush. Alba Fyre, Piper Niven, two members of the cunning, venomous alliance that calls itself Secret Hervice. They descended on Nikki like wolves circling a lone lioness. They struck with no remorse, no respect, no honor. But in that moment of madness, in that storm of violence, the clouds cracked, and from the thunder came Stephanie Vaquer. She didn't walk. She didn't hesitate. She flew down that ramp with purpose written all over her soul. And when she reached that ring, when she looked into the eyes of the traitors, there was no question about where her loyalty stood. Not with brands, not with titles, with respect, with history, with warriors who paved the path she now walks. And that brings us to SmackDown. It wasn't just a match. It wasn't just a booking decision. It was justice, wrapped in black leather and vengeance. Stephanie Vaquer versus Alba Fyre. The Devil's Kiss versus the Gory Special. Fire versus darkness. The bell rang, and Alba Fyre came in hot. She didn't forget Monday. She didn't forget the interruption. She wanted payback. But you don't throw fire at a woman who walks through hell and calls it home. Stephanie was focused, measured, relentless. Her movement was poetry. Each strike a sentence. Each counter a paragraph in the story she was writing with her fists. Alba tried to lift her, to twist her into the dreaded Gory Special, but Stephanie slipped away like smoke through fingers. And then came the moment. The silence before the thunder. The Devil's Kiss. A move spoken of in whispers, executed with the precision of a scalpel and the fury of a hurricane. Alba Fyre's body snapped back. The crowd gasped. But Stephanie Vaquer wasn't done. No, she finished it with the SVB. Swift, cold, unanswerable. 1, 2, 3. The referee's hand hit the mat, but the echo was felt far beyond the arena. It was felt in the locker rooms of Raw. It was felt in the halls of SmackDown. It was felt by Chelsea Green, watching backstage with her mask of arrogance perhaps cracking ever so slightly. It was felt by Nikki Bella, wherever she was, nursing her wounds but now knowing that she wasn't alone. Stephanie Vaquer didn't come to SmackDown to make a statement. She was the statement. She came to settle scores the only way warriors know how, face to face, strike for strike, soul for soul. And don't misunderstand this for brand warfare. This wasn't Raw invading SmackDown. This was an angel of vengeance flying where she pleased. Because justice doesn't check rosters. The WWE Universe felt that. The energy in the crowd was different. It wasn't just excitement, it was electricity fused with reverence. They weren't just watching a match. They were watching a chapter unfold in the legacy of a woman whose eyes don't blink at fire and whose heart beats in war drums. Stephanie's rise hasn't been overnight. It's been earned. Every bruise, every cut, every cheer, every boo. She's carved her way through the doubters, through the politics, through the maze that is WWE. And now, she stands not as a rising star, but as a rising power. She didn't need a microphone. She didn't need a catchphrase. Her fists did the talking. Her silence roared louder than any promo. And when she stood over Alba Fyre, victorious and unshaken, there was a message sent not just to Secret Hervice, but to the entire WWE roster. If you come for legends, be prepared to face legacies in the making. Stephanie Vaquer isn't here to play nice. She's not here for social media clout. She's not here to smile and wave. She's here to fight. She's here to protect what this business was built on. She's here to carve her name alongside the greats, not by asking, but by earning. And as Alba Fyre rolled out of the ring, stunned and silenced, the crowd's chant grew louder, Vaquer. Vaquer, like a chorus building in a cathedral of steel. No tricks. No distractions. Just domination. But this was only the beginning. Because you better believe Chelsea Green saw what happened. You better believe Piper Niven felt it in her bones. You better believe that secret Hervice now has a target drawn across its chest. Stephanie Vaquer isn't just the one who interrupted their plans. She's now the problem they can't solve. And Nikki Bella, she may have been bloodied. She may have been blindsided. But now, she's got a shadow beside her, a shadow with fists of fury and wings of vengeance. A shadow called Stephanie. So what comes next? War. Because when alliances start to form across brands, when loyalties begin to bleed through the cracks in the system, WWE becomes more than entertainment, it becomes a battlefield. And in that battlefield, Stephanie Vaquer is more than a fighter. She's a symbol. She's a spark in the darkness. She's a warrior who doesn't need permission to strike. Alba Fyre learned that the hard way. And the rest, they're on notice. Because from now on, the Devil's Kiss won't just end matches, it will start revolutions.